No, I don't want to stay with you anymore. How are you gonna do this to me in front of everyone?
This week's episode of Love in Paradise pushed nearly every couple to their breaking point. From STDs and threesomes to clashes over religion and money headaches, it's been a wild rollercoaster of drama. So let's jump straight in, and there's no better place to start than our resident unhinged duo, Kyle and Ani.
I want Kyle to stop donating through sex, but somehow he can't give me like a final answer. So we're like stuck in this, what we are going to do.
So the last we saw these two, Kyle had just dropped some major bombshells. Annie's still grappling with her frustration. She's still trying to process it all. You see, she found out that not only did Kyle have sex and naturally donate his sperm whilst in Australia, but he also told her he fully intends to continue donating his sperm, even while they're together.
I am willing to make some compromises though. Maybe Annie gets to choose who I donate to.
But if she thought that was difficult to understand, little does Annie know there's an even bigger bombshell lurking in the shadows, one that Kyle has yet to reveal.
I recently came clean to Annie about donating through sex to a woman in Australia. But what Annie doesn't know is that there's other women I donated naturally to recently.
Oh, good God, here we go again with vile Kyle. Honestly, everything about this guy gives me the creeps. I'm genuinely crossing my fingers. I hope that once Annie learns about this, she'll realise how disgusting a man he is. She'll kick him to the curb for good. Like, what's keeping her in this relationship is beyond me. And to make matters worse, Kyle, for some strange reason, seems to think that the best way to soften the blow of his confession is to get an STD test. He seems to think that this is the way to prove to her that she has nothing to worry about.
I think she may react kind of harshly when she finds out, so I'm getting an STD test. I think it's a good buffer.
And don't do it. You will be fine.
Oh my God. Kyle's idea that somehow a clean bill of sexual health makes it okay to sleep with other women is mind-boggling. His logic is completely warped. He's hoping he can say to Annie, "Sorry baby, I slept with other women, but don't worry, I'm disease-free." At least that's what he hopes to say. Who knows, maybe he does have a disease. Maybe his dick is gonna fall off. But either way, that's not gonna give any comfort to Annie, is it? Like, honestly, what's he thinking? How does he think that that's okay? That's gonna reassure her.
I think she'll react well because she'll see how responsible I am, and there's really nothing to worry about, and she'll be happy.
Now, thankfully, one of Annie's closest friends from Germany has flown to Malta to be with her, to meet Kyle. It's gonna be very beneficial for Annie to have some outside perspective on this whole messed up relationship.
At the end of this week, I want to know if he can completely stop it and to have like a proper relationship.
That's what you deserve.
Yeah.
Now, Annie's friend tells us that Annie has a track record of always getting into bad relationships. She always follows her heart rather than her head, she says. But surely she can see that having a boyfriend who's going to cheat on her while gallivanting around the globe isn't the kind of relationship that anyone wants. Stamp it out now, Annie. Now, on a brighter note, over in Brazil, Shawn and Alliya are making some major progress in their relationship. You see, Alliya's finally taken the big step of telling her mum about Shawn.
Mas eu tenho relacionamento com americano. O nome dele é Shawn.
Given the rocky history between Alliya and her mum, this moment marked a big leap forward. It's given Alliya's mum a genuine opportunity to embrace her new life wholeheartedly. Alliya invited her mum to her 25th birthday celebration, and it was there that she finally disclosed that she and Shawn had been happily living together since 2021. And it was lovely to see her mum fully on board, fully supportive of the relationship.
Você, assim, seja feliz. E ao mesmo tempo feliz, né? Muito feliz. pela grande notícia.
Watching this, watching Alliya's mum's support, watching her acceptance of Alliya's identity and the relationship with Shawn is heartwarming. It's nice to see. My only concern is your happiness, she keeps repeating to Alliya. Now, later on that evening, we join Alliya and her family at her birthday celebration, and Shawn has orchestrated a huge surprise with the help of Brazilian pop star Anitta.
Você quer casar com ele?
I mean, wow! Getting a genuine celebrity to help you to propose is jaw-dropping. It's incredible. It's got to be the sweetest proposal we've seen on this show, right? I mean, Shawn's clearly pulled out all of the stops for this, and it's very clear just how much he loves Alliya. I mean, let's just be honest, these two might be the only couple on this show who actually stand a fighting chance of making their relationship work at this point. Speaking of which, over in Italy, Adriano was taking Alex to meet his mother and stepfather for the very first time. And as if meeting the parents for the first time wasn't nerve-wracking enough, things were about to get a whole lot worse.
His mom is going to teach me how to make his favorite pasta dish. So we're shopping for ingredients and other things we need for dinner.
So just to add to the pressure of meeting the parents for the first time, Alex is also going to be judged on her cooking skills, how well she can help Adriano's mum prepare his favourite dish. Alex is understandably nervous. Adriano's a mama's boy after all, so she's under no illusion as to how important his mum's opinion will be.
If dinner with my mom will go good tonight, I can see my relationship with Alex going the next level.
Now, thankfully, Alex passed the first test with flying colours. Her cooking was up to par.
Mi è piaciuta molto.
That looks so good.
Mi sembra abbastanza brava.
But then, for some unfathomable reason, as they were tucking into their lovely pasta, Alex decided to bring up a topic of conversation that's definitely not for the dinner table: religion.
You guys are Catholic, but he believes in nothing. And so that is a concern of mine.
Alex is worried that Adriano's religious beliefs, the fact that he's an atheist, is going to be a big roadblock for their relationship. She's concerned that they won't be able to understand each other's perspectives, and this uncertainty is making her question if Adriano's love for her is real.
I'm having an unconditional love towards you when you are trying to change who I am and make me believer. You should accept me.
Yeah, having this kind of fight over such a serious topic at the very first time that she's meeting his parents is not a good look. Now, Adriano's mum springs to her son's defence. She tries to reassure Alex that Adriano, whether or not he believes in God, believes in love. He loves her. And as for Adriano, well, he's adamant he's gonna stay true to himself. He's gonna stand by his beliefs. He refuses to be pushed into anything, which honestly I agree with what he's saying. Like, no one should be forced into a religion. It's a deeply personal thing. It's not something you can just adopt just because your partner says so. But unfortunately, this isn't good enough for Alex. She remains unconvinced about Adriano's love. And unfortunately, the tension only escalated in the car on the way home.
Okay, you had a bad moment, everything changed in your life, you believe it was God, I don't. I believe it was just yourself getting your life in your hand again and move forward.
Sorry, Alex, but I'm siding with Adriano on this one. Look, I understand how important faith can be for many. Like, religion is lovely, it's beautiful, it can give many people a purpose, right? And that's fantastic. But, and here's the important point, that doesn't mean that Adriano should feel pressured to change his beliefs just because Alex has found her purpose in Christianity. But as if this wasn't bad enough, things got even worse when Alex brought up the long-standing issue of Adriano's love of threesomes. Thank God she didn't bring this up at the dinner table.
Adriano broke my heart. when he decided to break up with me to have threesomes.
Look, I can see the appeal, right? I understand why Alex might think that finding religion, converting to Christianity, might suddenly magically make Adriano no longer want a threesome. After all, that is what happened to her. She too used to be very similar to Adriano. She too used to like threesomes. But that all stopped. She turned her life around after discovering God. So she hopes the same can happen to him. She desperately hopes this can be the solution to their problems. This might stop a repeat of the last 2 times that they broke up because of the threesome issue. Like, deep down, when you scratch the surface, what this is her desperately trying to make the relationship work, right? I get it. But, I'm sorry, it's all just very naive. She's hoping that God, Christianity, will change his sexual desires, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
I am hopeful we still have a future, but this relationship would never last if there's no respect and trust involved. And right now, I'm not seeing either or.
Now, while I'm not excusing Adriano's past, his past actions, in this situation right now, it seems like Alex is the one lacking in respect. She needs to just back off. She needs to accept that Adriano might not be willing to change his beliefs. Pressuring him isn't the solution. She can't force him to do anything. So that being the case, what will it mean for their relationship if Adriano doesn't want to change?
What happens if I never believe in God? It's gonna be a problem for you?
Yes.
Unfortunately, it really does feel like an uphill battle for these two, doesn't it? I just don't know if they'll be able to bridge this gap, if they'll be able to re-establish trust in the relationship. Now, on that topic of trust, let's turn our attention to Luke and Madeleine. You see, tensions are still running very high as they try to tackle the daunting topic of a prenup.
The real deal is who you think I am.
This is nothing.
If you need, you have a flirtation for me, so this relationship is over.
Madeleine's furious. In her eyes, Luke requesting a prenup is a betrayal. It's him showing a distinct lack of trust in her. It's a sign that he doubts her commitment, which frankly I think is the case. That is pretty much what Luke said.
I know that I will never leave you, but I don't know that you'll never leave me.
And that being the case, if he doesn't trust her, then what's the point of this relationship, she asks. Now, the thing is, Luke sees the prenup very differently.
You don't understand what a prenup is. It's everything before the marriage. Once you get married, you share everything after that. No problem.
I know.
Yeah, okay, then what's the problem?
Now, what Madeleine seems to be missing is that a prenup, or at least a properly written prenup, could actually be beneficial for her. Like, at the present moment in time, Luke is in a bad financial spot. He doesn't have that many assets to protect. But with a prenup in place, once they're married, they will share everything. If he can get back on his feet, if any of his business investments work out, or if he ends up getting back into the same line of work that he was sacked from, what seems to be a very lucrative career, then the prenup would safeguard her interest. She would be entitled to that newfound wealth. But Madeleine doesn't care. For right now, all that she can think about is that Luke has just humiliated her.
No, I don't want to stay with you anymore. How are you gonna do this to me in front of everyone?
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, I do understand her point of view here. If Luke has concerns which are entirely of his own doing, right? He's the one that's been splashing the cash, treating her like a sugar baby. But that being the case, if he had those concerns, did he really need to wait until they were on TV to bring up this topic? Could he not have done it before filming? Could he not have done it in private? Like, I understand why she feels humiliated. But while I understand it, that doesn't mean her reaction is okay. I mean, it does feel very over the top, very childish. Now, Luke attempts to reassure her by saying he wants nothing more than to be married to her for the rest of his life. But it's not good enough. Madeleine remains completely distraught.
No!
It really doesn't feel like they're gonna find any common ground here, does it? I mean, Madeleine's having a major meltdown. Luke's attempts to soothe her haven't made a dent. Now, it's not really a surprise to learn that Luke and Madeleine spent the night apart. Madeleine went back to her grandma's house, and when we join them the next day, Madeleine has managed to calm down a bit.
You know, sometimes reaction very strong, but you need to understand how the prenup made me feel.
Now, very quickly, it again becomes apparent that Madeleine is in the dark about the true purpose of a prenup. She's convinced that Luke is trying to protect himself, trying to cut her out of his money. But what money? He's broke, Madeleine. So, despite Luke's repeated reassurances, Madeleine remains skeptical. But Luke refuses to back down.
The prenup is a non-negotiable for me. But I'm willing to table this conversation for now because it seems like we're talking in circles.
In the past, it's always been her way or the highway, Luke tells us. This time, I'm standing my ground. I will not get married unless she signs, he says. But the thing is, instead of sitting down and actually talking about this, instead of having a mature conversation, he decides to park it, hit pause, and leave it for another day. It's gonna be the lingering elephant in the room, it seems.
But if Madeleine isn't eventually able to have a mature and adult conversation about this, we're really gonna have a problem.
I just don't see how they're going to be able to overcome this hurdle. Madeleine's so young, she's so immature. There's clearly a big age gap, a big maturity gap, a big difference in life experience between the pair. I don't think that she fully grasps, or perhaps she doesn't fully believe, Luke's financial problems. Right now, all she can think about is what's in it for her, not what's the best thing for their relationship. And with that attitude, if that's how they're both gonna play it, if neither of them fully trusts one another, I don't think their relationship can survive this pressure.